All right, the I can for today is I can add and subtract decimals. So decimals are mainly used in 4th grade for money. And I have here 3 receipts that are cut out. And I just want to bring your attention to how they are lined up. So if you look at the money that's being added up that I spent, you'll notice that they're all very neatly lined up according to the place value or the decimal. So each one of these numbers, they're lined up so neatly so that the decimals are right on top of each other. Because if the decimals are on top of each other or stacked like they are, the place values will be. So keep that in mind when you're adding and subtracting decimals. And the next time you see a receipt, check it out. All right, when you have a decimal and you're adding or subtracting, the first thing you have to do is to look and see if it's horizontal or vertical. Right now, this one is horizontally displayed. So I'm going to rewrite my decimal so that the decimals are on top, one on top of the other, and that they're lined up. And I'm going to add them. So 2 hundredths plus 5 hundredths is 7 hundredths. 2 tenths plus 4 tenths is 6 tenths. Bring down that decimal. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So 4 and 67 hundredths. As you can see, just like the receipt, I lined up the decimal, because if you line up the decimal, then all the other place values will fall in line. All right, let's try the next one. So the thing that's also different about when you're adding, subtracting decimals is now you're getting into a different place value than what you normally see if you're only working with whole numbers. So here I have 2 digits, 0 and 5. Here I have 3 digits, 1, 8, and 6. And if I were to add them by lining up the numbers or the digits, not the place value, it would be in the wrong spots. That's why it's really important to make sure that the decimals are lined up. So now I have 5 tenths. So my decimal comes first, right? I'll put my 0 here. And then the decimal, and then the 5 tenths. And after the 5, I like to put this thing called an invisible 0, which is not in the problem, but you can use it as like a place value holder, just so you can line up your numbers a little bit more easier. All right, so in the hundredths place, we have 6 plus nothing is 6. In the tenths place, 8 tenths plus 5 tenths is 13 tenths. Regroup the 1. And then 1 plus 1 in the ones place is 2. Sorry, I forgot my decimal. There we go. 2 and 36 hundredths. All right, and then my last example, you'll probably see a lot, is where they give you just a whole number without any decimals, and you just assume that you know how to work with that, okay? So if I have a 1, I know that to the right of the 1 is always a decimal, and then 2, if you will, invisible zeros. It just makes it easier when you add or subtract to line up your place value so you don't get confused. And then 67 hundredths, sorry, my 0 here, my decimal, and then 67 hundredths. And this one is a subtraction problem. All right, starting in the hundredths place, I can't take away 7 from 0, so I'm going to regroup from here. But I have nothing here to take away as well, or sorry, to regroup from. So look in the ones place, so this becomes 0, this becomes 9, and this becomes a 10. All right, 10 minus 7 hundredths is 3 hundredths. 9 minus 6 hundredths, excuse me, tenths is 3 tenths. And I'm going to bring down my decimal, and then my 0. So it's 33 hundredths. So just to recap, with I can add and subtract decimals, it's very similar to adding and subtracting with whole numbers, except for now you have the decimal that's in play. And notice that they're always lined up when you're adding or subtracting. Don't get confused if your digits don't line up with each other. Like this one, there's 3 and 3, but here's 3 and 2, and here's 1 and 3. So it won't be confusing as long as you keep your decimal lined up. And if you need to, add in those invisible zeros. And don't forget out your receipts to help you see how the decimals are lined up with money. And that's it.